Hi, thanks for tuning in to this one-time special edition of the Witching Half Hour. Today, I'll be your host. I'm Allison Vogelsang, and with me, we have brought in a few guests that happen to be some good friends of mine. First, John Delmonico.
Hello.
How are you doing today, John?
I'm doing pretty good. Yeah. Woke up, had a fabulous breakfast. I had up one Pop-Tart and like half a glass of orange juice. Feeling pretty spry.
And what is it that you do?
I do custom framing at a craft store. Great job, pretty easygoing, not a lot to do. Get to talk to fun people. And then for school, I am going to school for media art and animation. Basically entails like 3D animation, concept art, character art, that kind of thing.
All right. And also with us, we have Jess Falver.
Hi.
How are you doing today, Jess?
Pretty swell. I woke up at like 7 a.m., very tired. Went to class for my 8 a.m. I went to photography. I go here at Rowan, do graphic designing. It's a lot of work. But for like actual work, I work at Staples at our print lab. And it's very stressful, but I kind of go with it.
All right. And for these guys, I know them through my job at AC Moore because I work there as well. So I know them fairly well for this entire thing. Today's topic, we're going to be talking about our fears, what causes them, why we have them, what we can do to get rid of them. So maybe you have a fear of getting to class late. In order to fix that, we have the Rowan Shuttle.
Never walk to class again. The Rowan University Shuttle is one of the many services that makes life easier at Rowan. The internal shuttle goes around the Glassboro campus starting at 7 a.m. at the Rowan Boulevard Apartments and does not stop running until after midnight. On Wednesdays and Fridays, starting at 6 p.m., the shuttle goes to the Glassboro Shopping Center. So if you need to get to class or get some shopping done, the Rowan internal shuttle will be there for you. For more information on times and shuttle stop locations, go online to rowan.edu/shuttle.
Like I said, for today, we're going to be talking about our fears. First of all, how would you guys define fear?
I would call fear maybe something similar to disgust, like a revulsion to something or a dislike of something because of the reaction it evokes.
Jess?
Yeah, just something that makes you feel uncomfortable and panicky. It makes that anxiety level shoot up. It's not oh, I'm a little scared, but no, fear is that deep feeling inside where you actually can't just brush it off.
Where you have that sweaty palms, you have a physical reaction to that sort of thing.
Yeah, there's I was gonna say, there's a physical reaction. There's the fight or flight response kind of thing. I would factor into fear, definitely, because it's a natural response to danger.
Mm-hmm. Do you guys think that you have the fight or flight?
Flight, 100%.
Honestly, depends on the situation. If I was in serious danger and I knew I couldn't get away, I would just kind of automatically go into the fight. But I try to avoid situations, so my most natural will probably be the flight.
Can you think of an instance where you needed to use one of those?
One time at AC Moore, Kira got into the argument with the customer, and she was trying to throw punches, and he was also. I automatically did my fight instinct, holding her back and everything. So that was kind of a situation where I could have ran away, but I decided not to, and it turned out to be a beneficiary to it.
Now, John, you said you normally do the flight.
Oh yeah, I mean, I frequent haunted houses and haunted mazes and stuff like that around October time, and my first time ever going to one was actually kind of recently, maybe a year and a half ago, and there's this one room, very small hallway. Person in front of me is rather large and is taking up the entirety of this hallway. Not entirely, that's a bit of an exaggeration. But for the most part, I wouldn't have been able to squeeze past them. I hear noises behind me. I turn around, there's a guy in a clown mask chasing me down the hallway with a chainsaw. I black out and suddenly I'm in front of this person and just booking it down the hallway. I don't know how I did it. I don't know how, I think I might have gone under their legs, maybe I jumped over them, I don't know, but I did it.
Well, with those kind of responses, can you tell me what fears do you guys have? I'm personally afraid of spiders and claymation.
My fear is mostly the dark, but not necessarily because it's dark, but I don't know what's going on. Like, I can feel that there's something there, but I can't see it. Like, mostly of the unknown, kind of.
I feel like my fears are a little more abstract. Like, I don't really fear, like, I don't fear death or spiders or bears or anything like that. I fear pain, mainly. Any kind of pain, emotional pain, physical pain. And I have a lot of irrational fears, like long hallways, windows at night. I don't know why. It just makes me feel like somebody's watching me and I can't see them. Yeah, I feel like it's, for me, fear is more of an abstract thing.
Now, do you think a lot of people are afraid of bears? Because that was a new one for me to hear.
Well, maybe if you're like, if you live in Wisconsin in the middle of nowhere and bears are a threat to you, I don't know.
I'm so glad that you said Wisconsin and not a state where they're like, oh, Wyoming. Do they have bears?
Yeah, I think.
Oh, I'm just
I don't
wrong
know.
about that.
Be
then.
like Michigan or Alaska or something like that. Moose are pretty popular up there, too. They're pretty aggressive.
And they're large. People don't
Yeah.
realize how big a moose is.
I'd be pretty scared of a moose.
Honestly, I would be too. So, if you guys have any sort of fears, a good way to get over it is by calming down and listening to some good music. Luckily for you, Rowan also has a radio station.
Did you know Rowan has a radio station? Rowan Radio is a public station that broadcasts to listeners in South Jersey, Philadelphia, and Delaware. Our station members are student volunteers who work hard to produce daily content. Our music library has thousands of vinyl records and CDs and over 10,000 digital music titles. So tune in to Rowan Radio 89.7 WGLS FM or online at rowanradio.com.
Thanks for tuning back in. We're going to go back into our interview about certain fears that we have. Now, John, you already touched a little bit on irrational fears that you might have. Can you tell me why you might have some of these, like the hallways or the windows?
That's hard. That's, that's kind of hard to, I guess, elaborate on. Like, there's just certain elements, like, I guess, the fact that there could be, like I said, the hallways when it's dark. Many of them, I guess, come from horror films, which is ironic because horror is, like, it's up there. It's one of my favorite genres. But I guess as a kid, I kind of internalized some of that, and it comes out in weird ways as an adult.
Gotcha. Now, Jess, do you have any irrational fears?
I'm not too sure. I mean, I kind of feel like the dark is an irrational fear for being like 21 and still scared of the dark, honestly. Like, I'm always the person that like turns the light off, runs up the steps to like my bed or something like that. Or if I'm outside, I have to bring my dog with me. Like, I can't stand being in the dark by myself, like, at all.
I wouldn't say it's an irrational fear as an adult because it's like, it's the unknown. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? It's like you don't know what's lurking in it.
Yeah, but for like an adult, like that's like one of the last things you should be fearing, like necessarily, like
should be
like as a
fearing
kid,
the
like
IRS more.
you're always believing in like the boogie monster or something that's in the dark. So that's kind of understandable for like a kid to be afraid of the dark. But like as an adult, you know what's out there, but at the same time, I don't know.
Well, you could also have more like real world problems where it's like, what if somebody breaks into your apartment, but you don't know because it's dark? Now I would say it would be a
Yeah.
little bit irrational if you had like a nightlight.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're just chilling with a plug-in, like, gummy bear nightlight, that's a little irrational for being in your 20s. But like I said, I'm afraid of claymation. Why? I have no idea. Maybe it's just like the stop motion sort of aspect on it. How do you guys feel about that?
It's, yeah, I can kind of understand like the thought process of why you would think it's scary. It's kind of like jittery and like by nature it's very alien looking and strange.
Yeah, I honestly think it was probably like depending on the style of the claymation. Like if it's really realistic and they do it, it's a little more soothing. Like especially if it's well rendered and smooth motions. But like a lot of like little Wallace and Gromit kind of style, like where they have the big bulging eyes and they're really cartoonish. That's kind of like off-putting.
Gotcha. Now, for some of the fears that you guys have mentioned, have you found a way to conquer any of these?
I tend to like, if I take my time and like really figure out what's out there, like listen what's going on in the dark. I can try to like pinpoint what it is and where it is, so it kind of like calms me down to at least have an idea of what it could be and not just go off the chain and just think it's something totally irrational, like a cougar in my backyard.
I would say I kind of follow like a similar logic where I sort of will realize like I'm panicking or like I'm kind of like, you know, getting a little freaked out by nothing, so like I need to breathe and center myself and think like it's just a window, it's just a sliding glass door, like it's dark out, yes, but like there could be like a chest full of gold coins out there, I don't know. There could also be like a murderer waiting, I don't know.
What if it's a murderer with a chest of gold coins?
It's a pirate.
Then you'll see me in the obituaries, and I'm not leaving it to you. That's mine. I'm taking it to my grave.
Speaking of which, a lot of people are afraid of like certain horror monsters, because you just reminded me of the Mummy for that. So, are there any like monsters that like stayed with you guys? Like I think you mentioned the boogie monster, which I don't know why you called it a boogie monster. That's a
I don't
boogeyman.
know. Like, I remember seeing a lot of movies where like all the boogeyman was like some kind of like form, like it never had a distinct face to it. So like it can be any form, or like it can disguise into something that you're comfortable with and like trick you, kind of thing. Like I feel like that can really like hit the home. Like, I don't
Have you
know.
guys ever watched the movie It Follows?
No.
So basically
No.
what that one is, like how you were saying, it takes the form of someone that you trust, and then it goes to try and kill you. I'm not going to go into specifics because it's a rather racy film if you want to check it out though. I know like for me, I also don't swim well. So I know like anything that had to do with the new one that came out, The Shape of Water, having to do with the creature of the Black Lagoon.
Oh yeah.
So those kind of creep me out. Do you guys have any fears of water?
As a child, yeah, I did. Actually, I would get freaked out in my pool, thinking
Why?
like, I don't know. I would think there's like a snake in it, like outside of outside of my field of vision, and it's like I would turn to look at it and it'll go behind me or something. And, like, you know what I mean? I would just have like stupid irrational fears like that even as a kid.
I actually kind of had a problem with that. Like I went into like a natural swimming pond down in like Virginia, and I almost got bit by a snake. But I'm still not like too scared of water. I just always had that like stupid fear of like a shark in my pool kind of thing, like every kid had.
Oh yeah. I actually so I went when I was very young. I must have been 5 or 6. There was a lake near my grandmother's house. You can swim in it. You can fish in it. There's a divider, and you have to have like a license, and you have to register to swim. And there's like a lifeguard and all this and that. Grandmother didn't bother with any of that. She was just like, yeah, go swim in, it's fine, I'll watch you. I didn't know which side was which. I went into the fishing side. Long story short, I came out with leeches all over my back. So that I kind of feel like is what maybe like sparked the whole water thing. But
All right, so everyone knows that conquering fears is all about taking charge of your life, finding out what's actually out there, you know? So you need to do what's best for yourself, but don't do just what's best for yourself. Do it for others too, and our environment.
Rowan University is committed to reducing greenhouse gas emissions and creating an active culture that helps preserve the environment. Protect the planet and leave a smaller carbon footprint. Consider walking or biking as an alternative to driving. Recycle and invest in a reusable water bottle. At Rowan, students care about the environment. Join us in the practice and promotion of environmentally responsible choices.
All right, so we are back. Now we're shifting the topic a little bit, but we're still on the topic of fears. I wanted to ask you, Jess, what are your specific like spiritual beliefs?
Well, religiously, I am atheist, so that's kind of like science all the way through. Like, there's some kind of like scientific reason behind everything. Like, if you happen to like some people, they'll be like praying, oh, I wish I could make more money, and they happen to stumble on like $1 on the sidewalk. That's some kind of like scientific reason. Maybe like someone lost that dollar and it just happened to blow past you, or some kind of reasoning that's not just prophecy or like it happened because it was meant to be.
Gotcha. Now, did you grow up with that, like with your parents, or is that something that you've grown into as you've gotten older?
Well, in my household, we're very open with religion. Like, my mom's Christian, my dad's non-religious. So in a way, like, I was able to grow up believing what I truly believed in. My parents didn't try to, like, push me either way.
Now, has this influenced any of your fears at all?
I don't believe so. I mean, like, in a way, maybe having the fear of, like, in the dark unknown, because since I don't believe in, like, a past life, maybe I'm fearful of, like, I don't know what's going to exactly happen. Like, if I do die and I just happen to be in the casket for the rest of the Earth's life, or if there is an afterlife, like, what would that be?
Gotcha. Now, John, do you have any specific spiritual beliefs?
No, nothing terribly specific. I would identify as agnostic. So I don't worship, I don't pray, I don't practice, but I do believe that there is a kind of higher power. And I like to believe in a benevolent universe, something that, like, means well.
Now, was there anything that, like I asked Jess, that your parents influenced? Like, did they raise you as agnostic, or is that something that you've grown into?
It's definitely something that I grew into and had to experiment and find for myself. My parents, before I was born, were Roman Catholic, and then, you know, at some point they kind of, like, fell off the bandwagon, stopped going to church, didn't really press it onto any of their kids. They didn't press it onto my sister or my brother, so they kind of just, like, let me explore and figure things out for myself.
Gotcha, because I know, like, us being friends, and we've talked for a while, we've been friends for about 3 years minimum for what we've worked with. I myself, I'm Wiccan, and that I found on my own. Parents, like yours, were raised Roman Catholic. So in that sense, they kind of let me go as I needed to find things out. I think we've actually shared books about this, where I've shown you the series that got me into Wicca, and then you showed me one, it was The Alchemist, I believe. Now, has that influenced you in any way?
Yeah, I guess it's kind of, it made me look at the world a little broader. Like, that even though I believe the universe is a certain way, I could be completely wrong, and I'm open to that possibility. Like, if somebody comes to me with proof that I am wrong, then I'll be open to it. I'll be like, okay, yeah, I'm wrong. Like, let's work on that.
All right, so open-mindedness is definitely a huge part of any of this. When you don't really know what something is, or you think you might know, but you're not entirely sure, that's normally what causes fear. We've been talking about the fear of the unknown. So, if you make it known, you're not fearful anymore. We did a sort of exercise like this where we took to the streets of Rowan with their students. We showed them pictures, asked them what they thought it may or may not be, and certain topical questions about that sort of thing in a game that we like to call I Can't Believe It's Not Satan. All right, so we're starting with our first couple of guests, and your names again?
Michael and Joshua.
All right, so we're gonna start out with this first one. Guys, can you tell me what you think that this is?
That's a ritual circle with a star in the middle. I don't know the name, but I've definitely seen it in the abandoned house before.
It's a star in a circle to me. I don't know what that is.
I want to say like the satanic star.
It's a circle and a star in the middle.
It's a star.
I actually don't know.
Now tell me, is it satanic?
I've seen it used with satanic imagery,
but I don't know if that necessarily means that it is.
yeah.
I wouldn't say satanic. I would say it could be used for a lot of things.
This one is actually the Wiccan symbol uniting yourself with the other 4 natural elements. So this one, it is not satanic. Have either of you watched this show, Supernatural? All right, well, this is Mark Pellegrino. He plays Lucifer on the show. Is Lucifer satanic?
Lucifer is Satan. Lucifer is an angel, fallen angel. Satan is not an entity. I don't think Lucifer is satanic. He's angelic. He's still an angel.
I mean, isn't that kind of synonymous? Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm ignorant. I'm going to say yes, satanic.
Is Lucifer satanic?
No.
I thought so. I thought Lucifer meant the devil.
Yes. All right, you're actually wrong.
Really?
Lucifer is considered the fallen archangel.
Yeah.
However, he is not part of the religion for Satanism.
Oh, okay.
Can you tell me what this is?
Okay, if that's not satanic, then I don't know what's going to be satanic. Although those are Hebrew letters, so maybe not, because they don't believe in hell. So I'm going to say no.
That one looks like the first one, just a lot more what I know as being satanic with the goat stuff. I know the goat is like, I've seen imagery where the goat is the head of Satan. That's all.
No. It looks a little creepy though, but you know, I'm just gonna say no, it's not satanic.
Now that's satanic.
I
see the goat. I see the yeah.
I believe that is satanic.
I rebuke thee in the name of the Lord.
Jesus Christ. What? Oh, the irony.
So you guys are actually correct. This one, it is the Levian Satanist pentagram, including goat and all. So that one, you guys got that one right. I'm going to actually read this one out for you. So it says, do not give advice or opinions unless you are asked. Do not tell your troubles to others unless you are sure they want to hear them. And do not make sexual advances unless you are given the mating signal. Do you know what these are?
I feel like for some reason like this is like a trick and like this is like Christianity or like something weird like that.
No, those are normal.
Yeah, it sounds like.
I feel like those are normal things that you would hear.
I'm going to say yes. Yes.
Yes.
These are satanic. It is part of the 11 satanic commandments. All right, and we're on our last one. Can you tell me what this is?
That is a ritual table.
That is, yeah, absolutely.
That looks like Drake signing his life away to the Illuminati.
Whoa,
you know, signing his signature
we
in
can't
blood.
get into that. We can't get. That's another story for another day, Mikey.
Looks like a ritual of some sorts.
Some sort of ritual.
It looks like stuff that you would see in when you go to like I guess like a psychic and they have like the store.
Like a reader or some sort of.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. No, not a clue. Is it like some kind of what's the word? Like when you summon something?
Okay. Not exactly, but do you think it's satanic?
I'm going to say this is definitely satanic because there's a lot of triangles going on in this that you can form a pentagram with that. Or maybe this is just like Bam Margera's basement.
I'm gonna say no.
You're correct. Woo! This one links
One
back
out of-
to our original. It's a Wiccan ritual altar.
Okay.
So it's normally used for spells for healing and being prosperous. All right, so that was I Can't Believe It's Not Satan. What did you guys think?
It was pretty hilarious.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. Like, I love how the guy was just like, there's a lot of triangles going on, so it has to be Satan.
Right.
So triangles are Satan now.
Apparently. Now everyone knows that first impressions mean a lot. And when you have a semi-harsh exterior or a dark sense of humor, like you can tell possibly that we all have, there's sometimes moments where you unintentionally scare people. Has there been times where you guys have unintentionally scared someone?
All the time, like at AC Moore, especially with like, I'm a quiet person around public, so I can walk pretty silently. I just happen to pop up behind people, they turn around. Like, I've done it to John so many times. Kira, I've done it, she like yells at me every time. So it's, a lot of times I've just like popped up out of nowhere and everyone like freaks out.
You sneak, but unintentionally sneak.
Yeah, like I just walk casually, but it's like in a quiet way so no one hears me.
Gotcha. John?
I've scared my fair share of people in a different way, but I've definitely scared people. I'm like typically kind of loud. I'm a little boisterous, kind of flamboyant, but I have a pretty dark sense of humor. So like when I whip that out, people are usually like, "Whoa, hold on, slow down, clear, like hold horses. Like, what did you just say? We're not gonna glaze over that."
Yeah, like part of our generation is that dark humor where it's like, oh, send me dank memes before I kill myself.
Yeah.
Can you think of any reason why our generation kind of like resorts to that dark humor?
I feel like it's like a coping mechanism, or like a lot of like our parents growing up, they were just kind of like taught to like keep to themselves, don't worry about like how other people are going to think about you. But like us growing up, we're told to be like more expressive and everything, so we're open about like how we actually feel, whether it's like jokingly or actually serious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with that. I'd say it's more of a coping mechanism because in the modern age with like social media and stuff, you're sort of prompted to share the way that you feel, and a lot of that kind of stuff is very taboo. So people present it in the form of a joke, and thus creating dark humor and also a platform for people to talk about it.
Now, like I said, appearance can be a huge factor in scaring people. As you can probably notice, most of us have some form of tattoos or piercings. So has that impacted the way that someone has like looked at you?
Yes, definitely. Like while working at AC Moore, I've had many like older women come up to me like, "Oh, you would look so much prettier without your piercings," or like I would get like creepy guys who were like, "Hey, don't lose this, honey," and I'm like, "Please don't."
So as we've seen, and I can't believe it's not Satan, and with our talking with our guests, you definitely need to be more open-minded about things, and you can't take everything just by that first impression or appearance. So you shouldn't judge a book by its cover. In order to help you out with this, why don't you check out the Rowan Library?
Do you need access to the tools and resources to help you with your class projects and papers, or maybe just find a quiet area to study? Well, Rowan's Campbell Library is the best place for you. Volunteers at the Writing Center can help you improve your writing skills in a one-on-one environment. Study rooms can be reserved for group activities, studying, or even just to hang out and collaborate. So come on by the Campbell Library and see what's in store to help you succeed.
So hopefully now you have a little bit more of a background to see what is actually out there, and don't just take that face value. Now, we're also looking at things where we talk about unintentionally scaring people. Is there a time where you have purposely scared somebody because you knew you can?
Every possible opportunity. I'm kind of terrible in my house. Like, I'm a bit of a menace. I'll wait around corners and wait for somebody to come by, and I'll just like, or when I was little, I used to take like little toys, like rats or spiders, and I'd put them in the cupboard. So when my mom went to go grab a plate, she'd see just a fat rat sitting on a plate, and she would just scream.
Jess?
Mine is more of like I try to scare someone because I'm not sure if I can. Like my boyfriend, he's very like hard exterior, not scared of many things. So like I find it like a nice challenge to try to like spook him, whether it's just like pop around the corner and he gets like a little jump, or like he actually gets scared. It's always like fun and challenging.
Are there any times where you've tried to scare somebody and it just completely backfired?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like I've tried things where like I've hid around corners and like they just don't come out, and I'm like wondering where they are, and they're actually hiding behind a corner. So when I go like find them, they come out and scare me. So I've had that so many times.
Oh my God, that sounds terrible. I would feel like so betrayed. I'd be like, I thought.
No, I feel like kind of like happy in a way, because like we have the same mind connection. Like, oh, I was going to scare you, but you try to scare me too. Like good job kind of thing.
Now, one movie I'm going to bring up, and I know that you've seen this, or no, we might actually not have. It's a movie called Gerald's Game. And in this movie, the one woman is handcuffed to a bed. Her husband dies. Spoiler, I'm sorry. But she needs to find a way to get out of these handcuffs, and she does a certain thing in order to get out of them, which is kind of gruesome. I know the first time that I watched it, I was a little scared. Have you guys ever seen something that like you were scared by, but you just could not stop watching it?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
The second week, so I go to school at the Art Institute of Philadelphia. I'm in and out of Philly all the time. But the second week I was there, I was crossing Broad, and there was a UPS truck that hit and ran someone over, and did not stop. So I kind of like watched that whole ordeal, and I just froze in my tracks and like could not look away, even though there was like blood and guts and all that stuff. I was like, oh my God.
I haven't had any real life situations like that, but like in the Saw movies, like there's this one part where the girl sticks her hand in a glass box and like the razor blades like clamp down on her when she tries to pull her arms out, and you just see it like dig in. That's kind of like the scary, gruesome like I'm into, but it's like exciting to watch, so I don't want to look away. More of like I'm not scared and I don't want to look away kind of thing.
All right, now, while I wish we had more time to talk about this, unfortunately that's all the time that we have. I wanted to thank our guests today for taking the time to be with us. Like I said, I'm your host, Allison Vogelsang, and I just want you to remember, have the strength to make your own magic.